This is problem number 19 from the August 2017 Algebra 2 exam. In this question, we're given a system of equations, and we're trying to find if the two solutions of the system are both imaginary, rational, or both rational, or one rational and one irrational. So basically, we're trying to figure out what are the solutions of the system, and then we can figure out the answer based on that. The method we're going to use is the method of substitution. So to do that, we're going to isolate the y variable in the first equation. And I'm choosing to isolate y because it would be the easiest thing to isolate because it has no coefficient here. And obviously looking at the second equation, trying to isolate x or y would be quite, it would involve square rooting things and it'd just be a huge mess. So let's stick to isolating y in the first equation. And we can do that by first adding a y to both sides of the equation. Sorry about the messiness there. So we would get 2x equals y plus 4, and then just simply subtract 4 from both sides to get that y is equal to 2x minus 4. Okay, so with that done, what we can do is substitute that into the second equation. So anytime you see y, instead we write 2x minus 4. Let's try it. So we'll have x plus 3 squared plus, now instead of y, we're going to write 2x minus 4. Of course, we want to put it in brackets because it's all being squared, and it's going to equal 8. Okay, so now we have an equation with one variable, so we can solve it. If we were to expand x plus 3 squared, we would get x squared plus 6x plus 9. And then expanding 2x minus 4 squared, we would get 4x squared minus 8x, so that'd be minus 16x, and then plus 16, and that equals 8. Okay, so now we'll combine our like terms, get everything over to the same side. So let's see, we've got an x squared here plus 4x squared, so that's 5x squared. We've got a positive 6x minus 16x, that would be minus 10x. And then for our constants, we've got a positive 9 plus 16 is 25, although we're going to subtract 8. So 25 minus 8 gets us positive 17. And now we've moved that 8 over, so this whole thing is going to equal 0. So now that we've got the equation in the format of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, we can use the formula b squared minus 4ac to determine the type of solutions we're dealing with. If you're not sure where the b squared minus 4ac comes from, if we were to try to solve this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula, you may recognize b squared minus 4ac as being the portion of the quadratic equation that's in the radical. B squared minus 4ac is what you square root in the quadratic equation. So if what's inside the square root is negative, for example, then you know you're dealing with imaginary numbers because you cannot square root a negative number unless you're dealing with imaginary numbers. So let's go ahead and try it and see what happens. Our b value is negative 10. So we'll have negative 10 squared minus 4 multiplied by our a value, which is 5, multiplied by our c value of positive 17. So this becomes 100 minus 20 times 17, that would be negative 240. Okay, so since we're dealing with a value that is less than 0, we know that both solutions will be imaginary. So option number 1 is the correct answer. If you're curious, if we had gotten that b squared minus 4ac was positive, greater than 0, then they would both have been rational as our answer. Anyway, that's all for this video, and thanks for visiting JD's Regents Preparation.